So this is the devlog for the 30th of March 2017. I'm recording it on the 31st, but it's for the 30th. So I had a lot of problems in the morning, that morning. It was with a lot of plugins. So if I go to settings, preferences, plugin manager, I had a lot, this was in college, I had a lot of plugins that weren't activated, and I had a lot of problems that came after that as well. So the following plugins were not activated, which were Turtle, which is this. I don't actually really need Turtle at the moment. However, I have seen that it kind of, you can bake like normal maps and such a bit better, and ambient occlusion maps better than the normal Maya renderer. Of course you can use XNormal as well. I don't really know the difference in baking between Turtle and XNormal, but it's nice to have. So there's that. There's also Unfold 3D, which was very useful for the UV editor. If I select, okay, so that's, I don't have it, but if I go to layout, you can see that, actually, jumping ahead there, let's go to Unfold. So you can see that there's Unfold 3D and Legacy. So that's good for unfolding UVs. OBJ export. So I've seen that in this one, I don't have it loaded, but I've seen that OBJ is a good format to export it as for XNormal. I don't know if there's a difference between FBX and OBJ. I have had problems with FBX before because even if you delete the history of some deformers and such, it still like creates some weird problems in Unreal. So it's nice to have OBJ there, because I remember I had a problem with my sci-fi scene with FBX format, and I exported it as an OBJ and it worked flawlessly, but FBX did not work. So it's nice to have that, especially when exporting and using it in XNormal, because I've seen, as I said, other people use OBJ with XNormal and it seems fine, and these were people in work on AAA games and such, so I see why not copy their practice. So there's also XNormal. I don't know if I need XNormal. I don't really think so. So it was down the bottom somewhere, but I don't think I need it, but just in case, it's nice to have it on. Vertex normals. So I had some problems with vertex normals and such, so I don't actually know. Okay, so if I go to the block out and I go to mesh component display and I go to display normal, you can see the normals, the little lines coming off there. You can see the normals coming off the faces. If I change this to vertex, it'd be a bit better. That's what I wanted, to see the vertex normals. But I found out through various research that that you can change it here. So if I say 10, I can increase the vertex normal, so it's a lot easier to see when I select it. What didn't work was going up to display, heads up display, I think, no, polygons rather, and going to normal size as it's suggested in the official Maya documentation, and changing that. That just didn't work. It seemed to have gotten rid of it. I don't really know what that does. I would assume that it does it the normal size. Normal size there is 10, normal size here. I would assume that it's for every object, but it does say in the documentation that it's on a per object basis. However, I don't really I don't really know. You just saw me change it there, but it just disappeared rather than increase or whatever. But anyway, so yeah, that doesn't work. But you saw how I did make it work. It was per object in mesh component display. You can change it there. Okay. So the Maya gizmos were too small. When I do that, they were really small, so they were like that. And I found out how to change the size, and it's ow, white noise in my ear. But it's the plus and minus keys. You can increase and shorten them, which is really useful, because if I go back to I forgot how you do it. Oh, right, that's it. So you get at this, and if I were to try and scale this along its normals, for example, it goes away. This is another problem that I had, but I didn't realize, but you need to select vertexes, because I'm going along its vertex normals and not its whatever else normals, such as like edge normals or face normals. I don't even know if edges have normals. I don't think they do. I know faces do, but I researched and found another forum post that says how to do it, that you needed to select the vertices so you can scale along the vertex normals, which is useful in creating my cage mesh. So those were the problems that I had initially. So I also had a problem with the UV editor. If I were to do, let's say, a quick UV projection, let's do an automatic one. So I have UVs, and I had a problem with the layout tool. Now, in the prop modeling Nomon video, I saw that he had a different type of layout UV tool. He had the same one, but it had Unfold 3D, and this is where my earlier problem came in, where Unfold 3D was not enabled. And even after I enabled it, I still don't have it. I'm guessing that it was omitted in a later version of Maya, 2016, rather than maybe 14 or 15. Now, I do see that some of his options are similar to the ones that are here, such as pre-scaling. So I don't actually know what these mean, because they're different from his. So, I mean, that kind of sucks. I'm gonna look up what these mean, because it's not like I can preserve the UV ratio, so it's not the same, like the, what's it called, the mesh sizes won't be preserved. The UVs won't match the mesh sizes, is what I'm trying to say, when I unfold it all. When I use the layout tool, it's gonna scale it all weirdly, and I may get UV stretching and such. So I'm gonna have to learn about what these pre-scaling options mean, so I can pick the best one per object. So I also have, so shell spacing. He has Unfold 3D. I don't know what this is. This is like default layout UVs options that, I don't know, they're kind of helpful, kind of not. I mean, the options are semi there, like rotation, allowing no rotation, or allowing 90 degrees or free. I'm leaving it at 90 degrees. And things like shell spacing. I'm guessing these are presets for, like, well, yeah, spacing presets, but I mean like presets for the space between each cell and such, but you don't get you don't get pixel, you can't modify it per pixel. You can't be like, I want 10 pixels between each shell. You do it by percentage in this one, which is I'd say not as helpful. So I'd want the unfold 3D thing, and perhaps I can actually check how to get unfold 3D back or some such. So that might help. Okay, so so I did new material. So this one's green, for example, just because it's high. It's the high poly test. I did testing to. Okay, so that's a problem. I did testing to determine if I could remember how to bake normal maps and such. The test sort of went well, however the normal maps did not bake because it just said analyzing in X normal and then it crashed each time I tried it. I have an idea of why that is, and it might be because it was trying to read it from my memory stick. A Maya cut from the memory stick is perfectly fine. Like this is on my memory stick right now, and it really has no problems because it's USB 3.0 and such. But I don't know. Probably trying to bake from it is not a great idea, I suppose. So I'll probably try it on like a local hard drive some other time. So so I also created the Pego block out, as you can see here. If I actually just hide that, isolate it rather. So here's the Pego block out. If I go around it, okay. So top, and you can see the wings are bent in the exact same way. You have thruster type things. I wanted it to be more of an aggressive shape, and this one's sort of based on a squid, whereas the Atlassian is based on what are they called? Another type of bird. A swan, rather. Yeah, a swan. This one's based on a squid, hence the kind of tentacly bits around here. And I wanted it to have more of an aggressive shape. These in my drawings are weapon sort of systems where it'll spin around sort of like a Gatling gun. So that's where I got the inspiration for that from. But it'd be sort of like a Gatling laser or some such. And they would kind of attach to the main body and pop out. So yeah, and it was facing the other way. However, I talked to Charlie Gardner about the ship designs. He suggested facing it this way, because if I do the super cool looking silhouette, it looks quite, it looks like it goes with the form, like it because obviously these are coming outward and going up. These wings are also coming outward and up, and it goes with the form, and it fits in with the look of them being like a bud of a flower opening up, as he said, and he's very right, he's very true. So I was playing around with that, and because of that, you can see that obviously they're clipping, and I think I'm going to change the Atlassian design slightly to accommodate the Pego being that way now, which I'll do soon. So that was mostly the morning, and after that I got quite tired of working on it, so I decided to work on something else, on programming stuff. So if I go over to this, so you'll see some previews of what I've done today, which is the 31st, but I'll explain what I did on the 30th. So the dummy ship, why is there, I don't know. Anyway, the dummy ship in the warp, I've changed the warp. So I took out the the dummy ship. Oh, okay, it's along here. Took out the dummy ship target relative location, and I've just manually placed in, you know, forward in the X value that amount, which is quite far away from the player, so it looks like it goes straight forward instead of like off at an angle. Because going off at an angle, it doesn't. It tries to find the right rotation, but it's the wrong rotation that I want. So I just did it manually. I also created a shake effect, a camera shake, which I'll show in a sec. So I changed the entire rotation of the sky sphere and the warp itself, because I found that it actually seemed a bit counterintuitive. What was happening was the ship was rotating the sky sphere, so panning the sky sphere and stretching those UVs whilst it was trying to rotate towards the warp location, which, if you think about it, it kind of doesn't make sense, because you wouldn't be inside of warp if you're still kind of preparing for warp. You'd have kind of locked onto your location, locked onto the destination, looked at it, like pointed your ship towards it, and then engaged warp. So I swapped that out. So you rotate the ship, and then the warp gets set up, and your field of view starts changing, and there's a build-up of energy and such, and then you move the ship and reverse the sky and such. And I added some after warp effects as well, which is the impulse, and so there's like don't know if I should explain this now. I'll explain it in the next devlog, because I think it's for the next devlog, to be honest. So I've also gone back and changed the scan phasing material. So if I go to the materials library, UI, I put it in a different place now. So because I accidentally created some new materials, so I changed the scan phasing material and applied it to the Atlassian mesh, and I'll show you what it looks like now. There's one of them, which Charlie Gardner said it looks like it's sort of like gone into a stealthy mode, which it really does look like it's gone into a stealthy mode. As you can see, it's the same material that is applied to, let's slow this down, to the UI. You can see it's got radial gradients in it, so it's like spotty, and all along it it's got all like spottiness that moves along it. So then you can see I started playing with different, I started manipulating it and playing with different materials. Okay, so one of them looks like a hologram, which is exactly what I was trying to create. So this one looks like a hologram. It looks more like a hologram, rather. I can change it because it uses a material instance, so I can easily manipulate it, which is really handy. So I can do speed of phasing, and I can change it so it's a lot faster, for example. And I'm planning on adding more effects to it, so it can be like it turns on and such, and I can change color and such. So that's really cool. And I accidentally created that, and how I did it was I sort of accidentally created one, and then I purposely created the other. Emissive strength, I just wanted that extra variable so I can control how strong the emission is. Materialize, I accidentally created the materialize. So again, Charlie Gardner said that this looks like materializing, like it's materializing, and that's because it's I kind of don't fully know what it's doing, but I can take a guess because it looks like it's going through the base color of the mesh, which I know that it is. It's going through the base color of the mesh and the color that I set. So I've used a boolean. Its base color is blue if this is set to true, which you can see the blue kind of lines there. So this mesh is all blue. However, because it uses the opacity mask, okay, so I do understand it, but because it uses the opacity mask, it means that the bits that are invisible, so kind of in between the lines, as like a gradient, the gradient bits is what I'm trying to say, has no blue color and is visible, hence why it looks like it's sort of partly there and partly not. So yeah, so that's what I did today or yesterday, on the 30th. So those are some problems that I had. That's how I fixed it. Where's the other thing? So what did I do? How does what I did today progress me towards making my short-term and long-term visual storytelling skills, long-term aims of progressing my skills and my visual storytelling as well as technical art of producing an impressive portfolio. So visual storytelling. These effects allow me to fit in with the theme of sci-fi and also to create some effects that can better allow me to tell the story itself through things like the materializing or things becoming visible rather than just like popping out of existence. It kind of shows that, okay, so this is a technology based world, this is a technology based like mechanical things, like the ship for example, and that, pardon me, and part of the ship is like made and is created itself through these high-tech, I don't know what you'd classify a hologram as, but like rather than screens, for example, like this is beyond our present. So that is how it kind of fits in with the visual storytelling. It sets a date and a fantasy that this whole world and this whole universe lives in. So technical art, I feel I'm getting more confident and better at using materials and creating things like this, just different effects and such that I want, even without the use of textures as specifically, because there are actually no textures. There's texture coordinates, but there's no textures used in this hologram material. So I feel like I'm getting a lot better at using the material editor. So that's me progressing my not just technical art ability, but my skills as well. Producing an impressive portfolio. It shows that I can actually create these effects, not just create the gameplay or create the meshes themselves, but I can actually manipulate them and how they look to achieve certain effects that are effective towards an audience. So if I was to do the same thing again, what would I do differently? I did work on something else instead of just carrying on. I didn't show one feature, I just realized that, but I did work on something else instead of just carrying on with the modeling. If I did something differently, it would be to carry on with the modeling, because that's quite useful, because I need to model quite a lot of things. So that's what I do differently, and I'll quickly show part of the what's it called, the thing, the warp. There you go. I'll quickly show part of the warp. Now some of this I did today, which is 31st. Some of this I did yesterday. It's just the camera shake that I did yesterday. So I'll show the camera shake and I'll leave the rest for tomorrow. So, camera shake, and I'll leave the rest for tomorrow. So, that's it for today.